Welcome to the Raw Relationship Podcast, the unrefined, immodest, and brutally honest relationship podcast that you didn't know you needed. Grab your others, sit down with us, let's talk about love, life, and laughs, and get real raw.
Hey, welcome back to the Raw Relationship Podcast, everybody. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, baby, we're on episode 8.
Episode 8, and they're just going to keep going. And I really like doing this. It's a lot of fun.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed talking with you, having a bit of whiskey, and just enjoying our evening.
Bantering back and forth about things that we think that we might know about, and we really hope that you appreciate. Yeah. So I'm Candy Graham.
And I'm Brett. And welcome into our little world.
Yes.
We've had a bit of a week. We had some kind of stomach virus run a train through our house for the last week, so we're actually recording a couple days later than we usually would because
it was
out.
rough. Yeah, it was definitely rough, but feeling a lot better and really happy to be able to record because I enjoy this. So
me too. And this episode, so this is our 8th topical episode, and I really enjoyed the St. Patrick's Day episode. I think we're going to do more of those, sort of away from relationship talk and just do like some just kind of cool storytelling. We did. If you haven't seen that one or heard it, I invite you to go check it out. The Two Drunk Americans Try Irish History.
It's really funny. I like to listen to ours just to make sure of course I'm partial, but
all right.
It was funny.
I
found myself laughing a lot.
Well, we drank Guinness. We did Dublin Drops, those Baileys. We drank Jameson. We drank some Irishman. We tried some Irish whiskeys. We drank some Guinness. By the end of the episode, we were pretty toasty. And then we just shared a bunch of facts with each other about Guinness, Jameson, Ireland, all of that. So anyway, all that being said, I think we're going to do some more of those, maybe call them bonus episodes going forward.
Yeah, like holidays or some reason that
stuff.
We need to just whatever.
I know we've got one in the hopper in the back of my brain that I really want to do on the history of Jack Daniels and Uncle Nearest, which we have the bottle right there. We're saving for that episode, bottle of Uncle Nearest. Really cool story about the whole history of Jack Daniels, and we're just going to dedicate a whole episode to it because that's fun.
And it's my favorite whiskey. I mean, we go way back. I can't say it's my favorite, but we go way back. It's my favorite mixing whiskey.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And iconic branding anyway. But that's not today. Today we're talking about technology abuse and what it can do to your relationship, how to, how to limit it, how to mitigate it. We're not trying to say that, and this is basically going to be revolving around, being on your cell phone, social media, gaming, things like that. And we're not trying to say that any of the things are bad in their own right, but just, everything in moderation.
Even moderation itself.
That is, you finished it for me. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
That is one of my favorite quotes. Everything in moderation, including moderation. So don't get too crazy with it. When we pulled the topic the last week, it says technology addiction and how it affects your relationship. I actually did just a fuzz of research, and I started looking up technology addiction, and it turns out that it's actually a real thing, and technology addiction is tied into some other mental health issues, and that is definitely something that we're not qualified or even comfortable talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to dive into that. I think I just want to play the top of the waves.
Yeah, so we're not going to speak on addiction in any way, shape, or form. We're just going to talk about, like, what is being on your phone too much due to your relationship and those kind of things. But I got a little flyaway?
You got a little bump.
My hair's flying away?
It's your headphones. I can't let you have that because anyways, go ahead. Yes,
all right,
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Always looking out for me.
Always.
All right, so before we start, though, we always start off with a wee bit of whiskey, and you ventured away from the local grocery store and went to a cool actual liquor bottle shop and found us something cool. What is this?
So, yeah, when I left work and you said, we definitely need a whiskey for the pod because we're recording tonight, and because of everything we were going through, we had not figured everything out. Mm-hmm. And I I decided to go to Top Shelf because I wanted something different. And when I walked in, this one caught my eye because it is straight rye whiskey.
We love the rye.
And I'm a rye fan.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to try it.
All right, so this is FEW, and I believe because I was intrigued by it when you brought it home. Now, this is, I think, the first whiskey in the last 7 or 8 episodes of our pod that I have actually never heard of and never actually tasted. So FEW, and I'm going to say it that way instead of calling it few, but because
That's what I was calling it. I was like, I don't know, few.
I know, but I was a little intrigued by it, so I looked it up. It is bottled in bond, which is another thing I had to look up because I've heard of it. I've tasted bottled in bond. I didn't ever know what it means. But this is also the first whiskey that we haven't opened and tried before we got on mic. And I think the reason for that is it is 100 proof.
So I'm taking it easy.
So it's 50% ABV. So I wanted to save every drop of that before we got on because and I think this episode's going to probably be a little bit shorter.
Honestly, the problem is once the whiskey starts flowing, it starts flowing.
Yeah, no, it's tasty.
And even if it's 100 proof.
Tell you what, why don't you pour those out for us while I tell you what I found out about FEW whiskey
I like the
real
sound
quick.
of that, and I'm glad that you're calling it FEW. I was wondering few, and I called it few because that's what it looks like it says, but go ahead.
Well, so if you look real close to the label, there's a little dot in between each letter.
Oh, if I put my glasses on. Glasses. It's a hard one to pop.
So basically, so this is it. This is
Ooh.
a hello.
I like that. Sorry, continue.
So this is a whiskey out of near Chicago, Illinois, in Evanston, Illinois. The name is taken from Frances Elizabeth Willard's initials, and that's why I think it should be FEW and not few.
I agree.
Okay, so Frances Elizabeth Willard. She's a historical figure who made Evanston the home of the Women's Christian Temperance Union. Ironically, Frances was a staunch supporter of the Prohibition and was one of many who played a part in ensuring Evanston remained a dry city beginning in 1855 and finally ending in 1972.
When you were born.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so Evanston was dry from 1855 to 1972.
That would be hard. They're making gin in the bathtub.
So they named their whiskey after the woman who headed up the Women's Christian Temperance Union, the one who basically started Prohibition
and kept it dry.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
I don't know if it's kind of a nod to, hey, this is how we got to where we are now, or if it's just kind of a fuck you to...
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was a fuck you for sure.
I think
I was thinking it was like, you know what, fuck off, because this whiskey is the fact that you didn't want us to have this, so we're going to name it after you.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other thing I looked up, and here, let's have a sip, because
yeah.
mouth is getting
So we do
dry
got to
already.
try it, and we smell it.
Yeah.
It smells a little bit sweet, so I guess we'll see what happens. But Sanchava, here's to another episode 8, and here's to another whiskey,
Sanchava.
FEW.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
That's definitely 100 proof.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. Whoo! Lord, I feel that in my lungs.
I felt it in my toes.
So I looked up what bottled in bond means. And that is a designation that started in the late 1800s because they used to sell whiskey just in barrels and not in bottles. And a lot of people, ironically, around Chicago, where this is from, were tampering with, they were basically passing off shit liquor as proper whiskey. So they would take like a vodka and at the end just throw some food coloring and some oak chips into it and
that's
try to make it
messed up.
pass off as whiskey,
Oof.
right?
Yeah, that'd be so gross.
Because you can make vodka in a minute,
Right.
right? But whiskey takes years.
Yeah, it'd be easier to bottle iced tea and be like, this is whiskey, but there's no alcohol
Right,
content
yeah,
to it.
They'd know. Yeah, so
That's what the kids did back in the day.
No,
You fill that
no,
vodka bottle
you
with
would
water.
refill your vodka. Yeah. I think there's still a vodka bottle in my dad's house that is half water
Guarantee you there is.
because he doesn't drink vodka, but I did.
Yes.
Anyway, bottled and bond became a thing where it's actually protecting the consumer. And so it was a government bonded. And long story short, it has to be aged for 4 years. It has to be at least 100 proof. Mm-hmm. And it has to be from a single distillery. Doesn't mean it can't be blended, but it all has to be from a single distillery in the same season.
So that's the thing. It has to be 100 proof.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
bonded. I think we should look into more bonded whiskeys. You have to be careful with it.
It's
but-
become like sort of the craft hipster thing because it really fell out of favor for a long time when everybody was kind of like wanted like softer, not so, knock you on your ass whiskey. And
made too many mistakes.
yeah. A few too many.
Just a few. FEW too many. I see what you did there.
All right. So that's our
That one's strong,
Lord
baby.
help us.
Yeah. You know there's an Knob Creek Rye that's 100 proof, right?
I know. I love
we've
that
had
one.
that one.
I do love that one.
It's not
Yeah.
that strong. There's a little, it's a little bit different, but it's really good and it's really rye.
I like this.
it's
I really
not-
like this. Good. Yeah.
So do I. It's
Good
not
pull.
too sweet. It's
All right.
smoky. Let's do it. What are we talking about today, Mr.
Ooh,
Brett?
my chest feels nice and warm.
So does mine.
All right, we're talking about technology abuse in your relationship. I guess I can take these off now. I'm not reading anything anymore. I'll take the glasses off, put those aside. So basically, in a nutshell, this comes down to when one or both partners is spending a lot of time either on their cell phone, on social media, gaming, online gambling, online shopping, whatever it is that is taking your attention away from your relationship and putting it into the cyberverse.
Right. Basically, it's taking time away from each other together because you're finding better time on your own. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much entertainment to it.
There is so much, I always think of this thing, it's amusement, right?
That's it.
I always think of this thing, an old friend told me many years ago, and he broke down the etymology of the word amusement. And A means without, and muse means thinking. Mm-hmm. So it means without thinking. So you just sit, you're entertained, but you're without your own thinking.
Muse is thinking. So anytime somebody calls you a muse, you're their thought, their thinking process. That's a little bit of segue. That just kind of hit me for a second. I was like, oh, that's neat. That's cool. That's a good fact.
And if that's not accurate, somebody correct me because I heard that years and years ago and I've been held on to it. I've held on to it for a long time.
We're going to find that guy that told you that if
Hopefully
he's
that's true.
wrong. And we're going to make him drink this whole bottle of whiskey.
But I want to say off the bat, we're not going into this saying don't be on your phone, don't indulge in social media, don't be a gamer. We're not saying any of that. Like we said in the very beginning, moderation in all things. So, I mean, let's just start off with what does it look like when it's too much?
I feel like it looks like you're being disrespected. If I am sitting next to you and you're on the phone just a few seconds longer than me, I get really upset. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I actually find
That's a real thing. That happens all the time.
not with me.
You have actually done that to me. We both sit on the couch on our phones and you put your phone down and then I count off 5 seconds and then you look at me like, oh my God, you're always on your phone.
I don't say that anymore because you go, you get a little bit upset. That's the other thing is when you are the type of person who's on your phone a lot, it's just what you do. You said earlier you can scroll for an hour. I can scroll for maybe 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's maybe the ADHD or just, I don't know. It's just not.
Well, what works out well for us? Oh, okay. Before I move on to that, I kind of want to shoot that question back at you because I want you to answer it the other way.
Okay.
I wasn't asking you what does it look like I wasn't asking you how does it make you feel.
Oh.
I was asking you what does it look like if you're looking at your partner, what does an abuse of technology or overuse of it look like to you? Does that make sense?
Emotionally, or what does it physically look like?
No, I want you to, what are you seeing in your partner? What does
seeing
that
that they're
look
not
like?
they don't have any interest in me. They don't want to spend time with me. I'm not a key part of the relationship, and I think that goes for any relationship.
Okay, you're still answering how it makes you feel.
You need to tell me what answer you're looking for, sir.
No, I'm not. I
Yes,
want you
you
to know.
do.
I want from your eyes, from your perspective, looking at your partner, which in this case is me, but in any person's case, looking at your partner, what does it look like when you're looking across the couch or into the other room
And they're on their phone.
and how much is too much?
Just constantly being on it. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're constantly on their phone, it might make you feel uncomfortable in the relationship. Like maybe they're on their phone for a specific reason. Is that what we're looking for? Because I've been through that before, and it's a really uncomfortable feeling when you're in a relationship to see the person that you're with on their phone constantly, and it actually makes you kind of want to look in their phone, which can create a lot of problems with trust. Still not the answer. I can tell by the look on his face.
No, you do bring up a really good point, though. So, yeah, you're talking about. So you're literally saying spending way too much time. I mean,
what does it look like to you if I'm on my phone and I'm sitting across from you on the couch?
That happens all the time, and that's fine with me. I think what we're getting to is there's a balance there, right? Like, there's reasons to be on your phone. We're both business owners, so there's times, and a lot of times you are not a big social media person.
Not really.
You just said it. You're like, I could maybe scroll for 20 minutes and then I just get bored. I can sit and scroll through different social media apps for 2 hours and go down rabbit holes of YouTube or Reddit or Instagram or TikTok. But to me, that's a time, like I said, amusement to just shut off my brain. But our particular situation, I usually get home 2 to 3 hours before you.
So you got plenty of time to scroll
And
before I
so
get home.
that's when I use my time. Yeah, and I sit and I scroll. If I'm not, majority of time when I get home, I'm editing this fucking podcast.
He loves the podcast, though.
I do. I love it.
Or he's doing the dishes.
I did the dishes tonight, yes.
Thank you.
I did. I got off my phone and did the dishes.
I appreciate it.
But I think that works for us because I choose the time when you're not here to do my endless scrolling.
I think that that's really important to have structure.
Yeah. And so again, it goes back to it's not wrong, but time and a place, right? And when you say, what does it look like when I'm on my phone all the time? Now, typically you are doing work stuff.
Yes.
But at that same time, I do get frustrated because I'm like, look, it's 9:00 at night. And these people that are messaging you about, can I get in and get my hair done?
It's fine.
No, this is our time now. You need to be able to say, look, I'm not working right now.
Right.
I'll get back to you tomorrow.
I have achieved that, my dear. My love, I have achieved that. And I know that it was really bad. I was getting messages that late, like, oh, when can you get me in? We're both in high demand on our jobs and our positions because we're good at them. And so we do need to be on the phone. And I also try to promote my work on the phone. Mm-hmm. We're also trying to promote our podcast on the phone. And it really does make it difficult because, yeah, exactly. At what point are you on it too much? I am not the kind of person who wakes up and goes, I need to get people's attention right now. I'm going to post something. It takes me a minute to go, I'm going to post something. And I need to be better at that. But I don't want to be technology driven. I'm probably just old.
Well, you're probably this is what's such a challenge for you is because you're not. I mean, you do enjoy a bit of social media and seeing who's doing what and posting and seeing how your posts, what kind of reactions you get.
For a minute.
But for a minute, yeah, you're really not that into it. But then I asked you to be our social media person for the podcast, which is a challenge for you because you're just not that driven to be on social media all the time.
I don't spend 2 hours on it. I did put up a really great video on TikTok that people loved. We got like a lot of views of you coming and dancing with me after you walked past me, and it looks like you're being like, nope. But and everybody loved it. They're like, oh my God, he's amazing, and
Oh,
got a lot
stop!
of love.
Don't start this thing again.
Well, no, it's true. You did, and you deserved it because that was a really cool thing for you to stop and do. To turn around and dance with me in the living room, just
I'm not.
random.
I am not saying that you're not doing a good job on social media. I'm saying the stuff you put up is amazing.
Thank you.
It's just not. You're just not big on social media. So in regards to our topic, social media for you is not really a thing. For you, the only thing with you that irritated me was constantly being on your phone answering clients, and for me, I don't know what do I do that might irritate you in as regards to technology.
Okay, I get kind of irritated when you're going through TikTok and your phone's on full volume, and I have to listen to all of the videos that you're watching. Granted, a lot of them are really cool, but it just makes me feel like I'm sitting right next to you, but that's what you want to hear and that's what you want to see right now.
Right.
And you do that. But I also understand we're raised in this. And I wonder about kids that are raised in this. Like, everybody's going to have their problems in their necks. But
Tech neck.
Tech neck. Yeah, exactly. I would have to say that that's what it is. Honestly, honey, I wish that I was better because I do want to promote us a lot more. But it also kind of stops you short when there's not a lot of people paying attention. And you go, okay, well, I guess I got to do it better next time. It can be a little bit discouraging.
Well, okay. Yeah. I just thought of something. Okay, so when we're talking about technology abuse, we're talking about, we said phones, social media. We mentioned gaming. Neither of us are gamers.
I walk into walls.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it. I'm like, I play Super Mario Brothers.
Not good at it. But I know that is a big issue in a lot of relationships. One or the other is a big time gamer or big time into online, I'd say poker or gambling or something, or just constantly shopping online.
Well, that's what I can do for hours.
Yeah, you know a little bit about that.
Shop for hours.
That's true. Instead of scrolling through social media for hours, you'll scroll through shopping.
Poshmark.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I shouldn't have said that on it.
To that point, again, none of those things are inherently wrong.
Right.
But just letting it take over. I know a lot of people who, whose personal lives have been taken over by having to go and do 6 hours of Call of Duty or Halo or,
because that's become their income?
No, just because that's how they get on. They get online, they get on there with their boys or their girls, and they just play. So again, I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that, but I mean 6 hours in a night when your partner is home, maybe cut it back.
I think so too.
But at least, and some people are totally cool with that. But I think it just comes back to like the communication thing. Hey, babe, I'm gonna go play with the guys for a couple hours. And I was like, all right, cool. Then I got a couple hours to sit here and watch my shows without you bugging me.
You always need to have your alone time. I
Yeah.
like my alone time.
So all those things are great, but if it turns into a thing where it's like, hey, this is getting a bit much, and now I'm starting to feel neglected, and I'm starting to feel like your game or Instagram or whatever is more important to you than I am, that's where you start to cross into an issue.
So I'm going to bring up something, and I'm going to put on my glasses because I actually saved something on my phone to share.
Oh, okay. Bring it on. What you got, Missy?
All right.
Looking like a sexy librarian over there.
I hope I look good in these glasses because I don't have any other ones to put on right now. One of the things that I saw that really kind of sparked my attention is I feel like it also affects families. It's not just personal relationships.
Sure. Yeah.
So what I saw and I felt was interesting and I wanted to bring up too is on one hand, it provides opportunities for parents to engage in educational and recreational activities with their children, from interactive learning apps to gaming.
Okay.
But on the other hand, excessive screen time or digital distractions may hinder parent-child bonding and limit quality time spent together. Because if you rely on technology to keep your child busy, eventually you're going to want their attention back and they're going to be too busy with technology.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And I think that goes both ways as well. I've seen plenty of videos with a little toddler walking up and knocking the phone out of a parent's hand because they're like, hey,
Oh, I've never seen that. That's interesting.
I need your attention too.
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. But that's a great point. If you just babysit your toddler with an iPad and then this is a thing that too I didn't want to get too deep into because not qualified to really talk about this. But the young mind, the young brain of a child, even of a teenager, being so heavily influenced by social media and technology. I mean, it's hard because when we grew up, there wasn't even internet.
We had a telephone on a wall.
Yeah, with a wire. Mm-hmm. Remember when cordless phones came out? We're like, holy shit!
God, that was like the day. I swear I kept that phone in my bedroom like all. I was always, and I had call waiting, and I really that was technology for me
man.
back then. I used to wrap the cord around me.
Ooh, just made
I
it
have a
sound
question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that some teenagers get a slight addiction or whatever we'd call it to technology because they're lonely?
I think a lot of people, not just teenagers, do. I think a lot of people are lonely. And in our context of what we're talking about, I mean, if you are lonely, then is it as much of a problem to spend many hours like on social media? I know people will put on, a video podcast like this one,
Right. Like if you're alone.
just because they're like, I feel like I have somebody in my house or
It's
somebody
like
to
if
sit down and eat with,
It's like if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Mm-hmm. I feel like that does fit. If you're alone and nobody gets upset about it, does it matter?
Does it? Yeah, right. That's a good point. Like, does it matter?
Yeah.
If I spend 12 hours on YouTube, because I'm not taking my time and attention away from anyone else. So in the context of our conversation, I don't know if that's healthy. But as you're not hindering your relationship, I mean, you might maybe spend your time a little better interacting with other people a little once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's a really interesting point that you bring up because how do you transition? Like if that's what you do all the time and you're dating somebody and then, you always get the best up front, right? And then all of a
Right.
sudden things start to get a little bit real and they're always on their phone and they're getting back to their old habits and you're not the most important thing because you're God. And so it turns into a problem, I think.
I think that's a good point. I think it even goes back to what you were saying about, babysitting your children with your iPad, because you said then when you do want their attention, but you've been just shoving technology in their face to keep them pacified, but you do want their attention now they're addicted to this and they're not looking. So it kind of goes to what you just said there. This is your habit. This is what you've been used to as a single for so long. You're just 12 hours on social media or whatever it is, or gaming or whatever. And then how do you transition from that? How does a child transition from being babysat with the iPad into interacting with their parents? How does someone who's single, who spent so much time gaming, transition into interacting with another person?
I think that it can be really detrimental to family relationships. You go to a restaurant and you see all the kids are on their phones.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can say about it. You just kind of I've looked around in restaurants and seen people on their phones, and it's the most important, or it's sitting on the table, and it's just a message to the people that you're with. That's more important, right?
Yes, and that's exactly. So I shared that video with you.
Yes.
We saw on the Instagram, and it really struck a chord with me. In fact, we were talking off mic about this topic, and honestly being like, do we even really want to talk about this? Like, this is I don't really want to get into it. Mm-hmm. And then I shared that video with you, and honestly, I kind of wish I had it just so I could give credit to the speaker. But in a nutshell,
We'll put it in the notes.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, he basically says, listen, let me have a phone. He's sitting there, I'm up on stage, and he gets a cell phone, and he says, when I have this in my hand, I'm not on it. There's no call. There's no text. The screen's off. But I have this in my hand while I'm talking to you. Does this make you feel like you're the most important thing to me right now? Of course not. Having your phone in your hand or even on the table when you're at dinner, regardless of whether, even if you turn it upside down, that's not any more polite. This is a unconscious psychological message to whoever you're with that this is more important to me than you are, even though I'm not on it, because having it out here means that if it goes off, I'm going to check it right away. This is so important. So put it away. If you're having dinner with family, with a partner, if you're just out having drinks with friends, whatever it is, if you're interacting with another human, put your phone in your pocket.
Yeah, put it in your pocket, because if you do have, if there is situations where, like, if your child's somewhere and you need to be aware. If they contact you, I wear a watch at work, because if I need to be contacted and it's an important call, then
if I need to text you and say bring home whiskey.
Exactly. Those are so important. I already know, though. It's like on my shopping list. Definitely, indefinitely. I'm like, so I'm going to go to the store. And I feel that there's a importance to understanding also that people need to have their phones. But if you are in a dining setting or you're supposed to be giving somebody your attention, putting it away somewhere where if it rings over and over and over again, you know that it's important.
I'm not saying don't check your phone if it goes off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it doesn't need to be front and center.
Right.
In the other person's face. Like, this is just having this here tells me that this is more important to you. Hey, yeah, put it in your pocket. Phone goes off, check it. Oh, excuse me. Check your phone. Not important. Okay, I'll put that back. Sorry, what were we talking about?
And that is exactly what a lot of kids do nowadays. When I swear I've seen it. Like, it's just constantly, it's an in your face thing, and it's come to a point where their emotions, their self-esteem depends on technology.
Well, yes. Okay, so
and I mean, even adults, everybody's.
That brings up, I think, one more thing I wanted to mention is the whole self-esteem and social media thing. And when you're I mean, do I really need to say this? I think I do, but I hope our listener understands that when you're scrolling through all the social media and you're looking at everybody else's posts, obviously understand that nobody posts their worst day. Everybody posts their best day, right? Everybody posts themselves in the best light. Living my best life. Everything is great. Listen, every single person in the fucking world and on the internet and in the socials has bad days, goes through shit, and they're not posting that. So don't get down on yourself because your life doesn't look like someone else's social media feed. That makes sense?
I have seen many posts that are emotional on different platforms just so that people can find somebody to relate to. And that it's so hard to determine what is right and what's not right. But if you're the kind of person who's dealing with somebody with a drug addiction, and there's somebody who's posting videos about, you know what, you're not alone, I'm with you, you could tend to not feel alone, and that could be something that can help you. So it's such a double-edged sword, honestly.
No, those are great.
Yeah.
Those are great. All I'm saying is nobody's posting, I'm so addicted to drugs right now.
No, because that would be,
I'm living my
it's
best
too
life
personal.
right now.
It's too
right?
personal.
Just know, all I was trying to say was just know that social media is a bit of a facade.
It's like a frame. It's like a picture.
It's a frame.
It's
yeah.
a frame.
And there's a lot of other picture outside of that frame.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Well played.
That you're not seeing.
Yeah.
Well said to you. Yes.
Okay.
I love talking to you because we always touch base on things, and you always just surprise me with your knowledge too. Like, I don't know. It's people.
Okay. Well, I'm going to surprise you with this because this came up in my head while we were talking. And while we were saying, well, we don't really have problems with tech addiction or anything because I do my scrolling while you're at work and you come home. We said, but okay, what about just the TV screen?
Oh.
Is that a tech abuse? Because to be completely honest with everyone out there, we spend a good majority of our time just watching TV shows and movies. And when we go to bed, we put on another show. I have, for as long as I can ever remember, needed to fall asleep to a TV. Mm-hmm. And I always need to have something on. It makes me so question people because I go, as a contractor, I go and work in people's house, and they're bopping around the house and doing their chores with no music, no TV on. Mm-hmm. I always have to have something on or in my ear. And I don't know if it's always been since childhood. And I don't know if it's because I spent so much time alone as a kid, or I didn't have, my mom always worked and my dad, he always worked too, even though he's around the house. So I just didn't have a lot of interaction, a lot of attention. And the TV was always there for me. And now this is something that we do together. We watch a lot of TV and a lot of shows. We have a lot of fun with it.
We like to be home together, but people are missing out on our time.
Well, just us. I'm just saying, with just between us, is that the healthiest thing we could be doing?
I have clients and I've known many people that they don't have TVs. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that don't have TVs in their bedroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just don't. That's a place for bed. It's not a place to watch TV. I like to go to bed and be able to watch TV. I feel when you have your podcast on, you just like to be intellectually stimulated. That's why you listen to the podcast you listen to. That's why you like to be emotionally stimulated, whether or not it's sitting next to me or alone. You just like to learn new shit.
I do. And yeah, and 100% I do. Maybe I could do more of that by putting my nose into a book every once in a while.
I've been working on that too.
I know you have started reading, and I used to do that somewhat. In fact, when I was really young, I didn't have a TV. All I had was books. I read voraciously. So anyway, but going back to us, maybe it would be good for us to turn off the TV every once in a while and just put on music instead while we make dinner, or maybe actually sit at the dining room table instead of the coffee table in front of the TV to eat
The
dinner.
dining room table is covered with books right now.
Yeah, which we haven't read.
It's just kind of ridiculous.
Because we got rid of the bookcase. To make room for this studio. It's all your fault, everybody.
It's all too funny to actually think about the whole aspect of it. There's a lot of really good books. And I think that actually supports the fact that I feel like you need to be stimulated intellectually.
Yeah.
Because you have been reading ever since you were little. You know what I did when I was little? I was physically stimulated. I did gymnastics. I did swimming. I did anything that was physical. I rode my bike all over this whole Verde Valley with friends, and I was just all over the place. You came home when the street lights came home, came on. My sister used to read books like crazy, and I'd be like, "You're so boring." So I think it's just also it's not technology, it's just another stimulation, but it's a lot easier, and maybe it does more with the lights and the...
Well, we live in a different world now where you can you can get your entertainment, your information, your stimulation from so many different things. Besides when we were kids, it was radio, TV, or books, or movies,
or video games.
Yeah, the early ones.
A Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers and Zelda.
Yeah, Atari.
Oh, Pole Position.
Oh, I love that one.
Was one of my favorites.
Spy Hunter.
Yes, and 007 on Nintendo was one of my favorites.
So even then, I know we're totally dating ourselves, but
we're super young.
We didn't have the internet, but we had plenty of tech in our face, not nearly as much as there is now, but
well, no, you literally have a camera to record everything, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but then you look at like those crime shows where they're on camera because that's technology. Somebody caught it on camera, and now somebody's caught for doing bad shit.
Right. Yeah, listen, I think we can kind of wrap this up by saying, like, going back to what we were saying in the beginning, like, we're not trying to say that inherently any of these things are bad in and of themselves. You have to find a balance in it. If you are in a relationship or you're with a partner who you feel like you're being neglected because your other is spending too much time gaming or on their phone.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Communicate. I can't believe we actually did it. That was just a test. I didn't even know he was going to say it with me. Swear to God. That's awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, speak up.
That's it.
Speak your mind. And don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, but the problem is sometimes if somebody is really protective of their technology and what they like to watch and what they like to do, they come at you.
Well, and to that, I think kind of what you wrote there is structure the time.
Yes.
Structure that. Be like, okay, totally understand. Listen, I'll tell you what. We'll have dinner together. We'll watch a movie, and then I'd really like to fuck off for a couple hours and play Call of Duty, or whatever.
Or maybe like go and be physically involved. I think technology can take away from physical involvement in a relationship as well.
Well, 100%.
You don't take time to just.
I know, but I'm talking about how to balance that out so you can still have that.
Yeah, I'm always thinking of that.
I know you're always like,
sorry.
Well, stop playing the game so we can go fuck around.
Boop, boop.
Hey, maybe if you throw that out there, there'll be less game playing.
Or more, but just not video game
less video game playing, more game playing, game.
Which can be really good for the relationship too. Yeah, structure with
just to balance everything. Yeah, structure it.
I don't know if I can throw his name out there. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble, but Gary Vee does a really good job, and he actually mentions that how he I'm sure all of you guys do, like Jim Jeffries and oh my God, Joe Rogan. I almost forgot him. There's another one, Tom Segura, and like all the comedians, everybody who has to promote themselves not to be successful because they're already just badasses. You have to limit that time. You have to have structure so that you have time with your family and your loved one. I think that would be overwhelming, to be honest with you. I think that would be overwhelming.
To be fair, to that point, they have a team that does that.
I want to be rich and have a team.
Yeah. I want a social media team as well.
And then I don't have to be on the phone all the time.
Right. No, you don't. They just follow you around with the camera. They clip your podcast, they do everything, and they post all that for you.
This is the best look you have. Yeah, let's do that. Well, That is exactly. But, at the beginning, they didn't. So.
Right. You're 100% right. And maybe because they put so much time and effort into it, it's part of how they got to where they are now.
And just because they're fucking awesome.
So get fucking on it, babe. Step it up. I need you to do more. I need you to be more abusive of your technology.
You guys know what's crazy out there?
More addicted to technology.
You guys know what's crazy out there? So my husband is learning all of the editing programs for audio and video so that we can put this podcast out and we can be successful in this. And I get frustrated putting up a video on TikTok. And I'm sitting there going, God damn it, on my phone, like, mad. And he's like, I don't know, I need to stretch this band and move that over. And then this is, and it's extremely impressive. It really is. So I need to get on it.
But even then,
Yeah.
let's just wrap up.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up.
Just find it. We're not saying this thing wrong. Just find a balance.
I think that's important.
Communicate. If you need a couple hours, take a couple hours.
And kids out there probably aren't listening to this, but maybe mention to your kid,
Sure hope
maybe
not.
put your phone away, because I'd really like just a minute to feel like I feel important.
I do want to say something about kids and social media. I mean, when your kids are up until they're, every kid advances at different ages, but I would say up until 16, 17, 18, feel free to be up in their business, up in their social media business.
Stay on it.
Know what they're posting, know who they're interacting with. I think those are critical things, and I don't want to get too deep into that. But man, feel free to put your nose into your kids' business. Absolutely.
Well, we're going to definitely wrap this one up. I mean, this opens up even more for emails for suggestions, and we'll put them in my box, so that we'll refer back to this episode, knowing that you sent that suggestion in regards to technology misuse, or what is it? Abuse. So, yeah. We love to interact. Thank you so much for emailing us so far and giving us more topics. And baby, I think that it's time to pull another topic out of the box.
I was just going to say, speaking of the box, I didn't forget this week. Speaking of the box, give me that. It's time to pick next week's topic.
Okay, do I open it?
Yeah, open the top.
So this is our box, you guys. Isn't that cute? It's actually our box now because we used this box when we got married. Okay.
All right, I got one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right, next week is going to be story time.
Story time.
We're going to tell about our Scotland honeymoon, fairies and isles.
Oh, my gosh.
We're not going to be talking about relationship problems. We're going to just tell you a story.
I like story time.
Yeah, I do enjoy the story episodes.
It's a storybook love story.
A continuation from Magic Castles in Quarantine, which was our second episode. So if you haven't heard that, go listen to it now.
Oh
and
my
next
gosh.
week we'll tell you about the rest of our month in Scotland. Honeymoon, fairies, and isles.
There's so much to talk about. There's so much magic in Scotland. The unicorn is their national animal. I had interaction with fairies.
Yep.
We had a lot of magic things happen for us.
So many cool people and experiences. So that'll be fun. We're just gonna tell stories next week. So
yeah, join us.
All right, baby.
To another one, and to you all out there.
One.
To another one. doing it well. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys.
Sláinte mhath, everybody.
Sláinte mhath.
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks again for listening. And if you'd like to support our show, please take just a minute to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help us out, and it doesn't cost you a thing.
Don't forget to email us your questions, raw relationship stories, comments, and whiskey suggestions. We will be pulling the next topic out of my box.
And if you want to get into Candy's box, email us at rawrelationshippod@gmail.com and you can find us on all the socials at Raw Relationship Podcast. Thanks again.
Cheers.